Hello, this is Deborah with Black Education TV. I'm going to be discussing Trevor Noah, who is the host of The Daily Show, and the fact that he was contacted by the French ambassador because of him actually giving honor to whom honor was due as it relates to the World Cup championship. It was won because of the Africans, right? Now, the French ambassador contacts him and is upset, and a lot of the French population is upset as well because they're saying, no, he is French. He was born here in France. Even though his parents are African, he was born in France, so they want to get the glory for his win. They did not want the glory going to Africa, so they contacted Trevor Noah with their complaint, and they wanted to set him straight, okay? So I watched the commentary from Trevor Noah's show, and as always, he's very brilliant. He himself is from South Africa, okay? He's from South Africa, and I love his commentary. He speaks very well and very intelligently, but he puts a comedic spin on things, okay? And so as he's giving honor to whom honor is due, the fact that the young man is African, having two African parents, of course, yeah, he's born in France, but that does not make him French. No more does that make us American because we were born here. Okay? This is one of those tricks where just because you're born somewhere, that's a way of separating you from your origins because you were born in another place. This is why a lot of so-called African Americans and other so-called African people around the world do not know who they are because they've conformed to the society in which they live in, and they reject who they are. Truth be told, we're not even really Africans, okay? We're Israelites, right? And we are from specific tribes in Israel. But anyway, going back to the story at hand, it amazes me how these people are so upset to the point of contacting Trevor Noah to let him know, no, he is not French. And I like how he put on this French accent to explain the letter that was sent to him, right? He's letting them know, no, he is not African, he is French, right? This is what the French ambassador is saying to him. And he said, and Trevor Noah is like, no, he's African and he was born in France. So, okay, you can call him a French African because he speaks French and he was born there, but that does not erase him being African. Now, before I got to the end of Trevor's commentary, I kind of said within myself, now, if he was committing a crime, he would be called African or black, right? Before I could even finish his commentary, and as I watched, he said the exact same thing that was on my mind. Had he been just an average person, or had he been someone who had committed a crime, they would call him or refer to him as an African immigrant. But because he did something that made them look big and good and great, oh no, don't call him an African, call him French. Now I'm going to share a story with you about that in just a moment. It amazes me, though. They want to take credit for him being in France. They want the French to get credit for that. So in the history books, it'll be known as a Frenchman won the World Cup in 2018 and not an African. See, that's why he was so upset by the narrative of Trevor Noah, because he gave honor to whom honor was due. The man is African. Just because you are born in another nation does not stop who you are. It would be no different if it was an Asian man. They would want to give credit to whatever Asian nation they are from. Correct? If he was from Thailand, they would want credit. If he was from Vietnam, they would want credit. From the Philippines, they would want credit. From China or Japan, they would want credit. North or South Korea, they would want credit. But because he's from Africa, the French ambassador and the French citizens don't think Africa needs to be even mentioned in this. Keep that part quiet. He's a Frenchman. And I love how brilliantly Trevor Noah handled the situation. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because it reminds me of a story that happened years ago, and I just recently spoke to someone about this, where there's a young African American young man, a black young man, no doubt from the tribe of Judah. This young man was so good at hacking into computers. When he was a teenager, he hacked into the computers of some major corporations. I'm not going to name the corporations, but he hacked into their computers. And one of the companies was so impressed, they said, we're not going to press charges. We're not going to call the police on you. But what we are going to do is hire you. Now, this is a young black male, okay? They hired him. But let me tell you what's interesting about them hiring him. They said, because you don't have an education, we are going to hire you in at minimum wage. And so he said, okay, I'll take that, because it came along with this too. They said, but what we're going to do is we're going to send you to school so that you can get the proper papers or the proper documentation, and then we will take you up to this amount. But let me tell you why they did that, because the skill was already there. They already knew he had the skill. This is why they hired him in the first place, because he hacked into their unbreakable, impenetrable system. He broke in. So they said, we need him, right? And so let me tell you what happens next. When he gets into this university that they are paying for, his instructor says to him, we know that you don't need this. Based on your skill level, we know that you don't need this education. It's just a formality so that you can get the documentation or the paperwork. That's what they say, right? But this is what I say. They want that white institution to take credit for his skill. They want it to be said and noted that this brilliant mind on this black young man is a result of him going to this university or going to this institution. See, now because he went to their school, even though he already had the skill before he even crossed the doorstep or the threshold of that college, university, they can now say that this is where he went to school. When they write about him in any article, when they talk about his situation or his scenario, or if he ever makes it into the history books, or if he ever makes it into the books talking about the history of this country, of that company, of the company, they can say, oh, this young man was brilliant and he went to school at this place, right? So now they have labeled him with their education. But let me tell you how smart and brilliant this young man is. He didn't stop there. Oh, yes. When they hired him, they started paying him a lot of money, right? But let me tell you how brilliant he is. He took the money that he earned and he said, you know what? I think my time here is up. I'm going to start my own company. And so I am going to move to Japan, take my skill there. I believe he worked at a Japanese company first for a while. And then from there, he broke off and started his own company and is making millions of dollars a year. You see, in Trevor Noah's commentary, he was talking about how the young African man who scaled the side of a building to save that child from falling to his death, how he became an honorary citizen and how they called him a French man. Okay, of course, African descent. But the thing is, because he did that, oh, you can be a citizen, right? He's a world hero now. The world has seen his heroism. But if he had committed the crime, they would call him an African immigrant. See, those are the double standards that we see, not just here in America, but around the world. Those are the double standards that we see. If you are nothing or just a lay person or a criminal, or even if you're not a criminal, but you're just nothing in their eyes, you are who you are. Oh, you're an African American. Oh, you're a African immigrant. Oh, you're a black person, or you're this or that, right? But if you do something profound, something wonderful, something awesome that makes their country look good, oh, you're an American citizen. Oh, you're a French citizen. Oh, you're a Canadian citizen. Once again, we are witnesses to the blatant double standard and hypocrisy of Western culture. Okay, family. With that, I will say shalom.